Hi everybody. Nothing that is born of nature is what it appears to be. And if you understand this, you will understand more about who you are and who other people are. Okay? Seeing with the physical eyes is a limitation. Because when you look, see this tree right here? When you look at this physically, you see a tree. This is more than a tree. This right here is a living thing, this tree. And you don't see the life in it. It's the illusion of physicality that puts a veil between you and the real nature of this tree right here. Same thing with people, same thing with animals, same thing with anything that occurs in nature. I'm not talking about things that are made, I'm talking about things that are natural and that occur in nature, including the earth, including everything. So, the beginning of this separation between man and spirit, which is the word transformed, which culminated in the life that we have now, which is where there's almost like a clear separation between spirit and physical, right? And a lot of us are focused on the physical because that's what we see. The beginning of that happened when what's that name? Eve was presented with the fruit, right, of the apple tree, and the fruit was pleasant to the eyes and good for food, and it was a tree to give you wisdom, or a fruit to give you wisdom, and she bit into that fruit. That was how man was introduced to the concept of physicality, because prior to that, man was spirit. That was why God walked with them in the Garden of Eden. They were aware of God and they were aware of the spiritual. But as they ate into that fruit, they became aware of the physical. They weren't aware of it before. I'm not going to talk about, well, you already know who did that. That was Lucifer, and there was a point, there was a reason for that. So that was not the way I'm not going to even go there. There was a reason for that. Okay, so at the point where we are now in our evolution as humans, and when I talk of evolution, we're in the process of becoming like our creator. That's what this whole thing is about. We are in the process of becoming, and to become the son of God or the daughters of God, we are continually transforming ourselves, continually, growing and transforming and evolving into higher states of being. Okay, so the problem is that a lot of people are so inundated in the illusion of matter, of physicality, that they think that all this tree is physical. They lose or miss out on the life that is pulsating in the tree or the animal or anything, even themselves. No human being is just a person walking around. They are spirit. Everything is spirit. Planets are spirit. Everything is spirit. And the best way to actually have a life experience isn't to focus on the physical or to overly focus on the spiritual. No, is to understand that you are a spiritual being living in a spiritual environment. But to be able to grasp that concept, you have to understand the illusion of physicality and not get caught up in it. Hearing with the physical ear is a limitation, because your dog doesn't talk to you with words, but your dog communicates, right? You look at your dog, you know what they're saying. They don't tell you in your head. You feel it. It's a way of communicating. The tree don't talk to you physically. You don't hear it in your ear. So, but when if the only way you hear is by hearing, then you are greatly limited. Because sometimes other things speak to you, but you don't hear, because this is the only way you hear. And the same thing with seeing. You can see with your physical eyes, but you can also see with your other eye. You can also see with your spiritual eye. You can also feel. When I think that some animals, like in the sea, they see go by feeling. They see go by feeling, because they haven't lost that. You can see by feeling your way. You don't trust your physical eyes only. You don't trust your physical ears only. You hear what they're saying, but you then also listen for what they're not saying. You see them as they're walking towards you. You are looking at their physicality, but you also merge a bit into their spirit, so you can take a feel. Because it's kind of like water. When you put your finger in water and you bring your finger out, you don't get the whole water on your finger, but you get a taste of the water, because whatever small particle of water you have on your finger is a representative of what the whole water is. It's the same thing. If you see somebody who's talking to you, somebody who's walking towards you, you don't got to know all of them. You just got to get a taste of their spirit. That tells you a little bit about who they are. Okay, so but when you lose sight of the fact that you're spirit, and the fact that everything is spirit and everything is going to eventually transform into spirit, you lose sight of who you really are and what your journey about, what your journey here is. You lose sight of that, and you even I myself, I'm in the process of continually. This tree is springtime. Tree is coming out. Leaves are coming back out. I'm in the process of, becoming more and more and more aware of that myself, in the sense of listening and becoming more in tune with the communication of things around me. Okay, and at first I was scared of it, because I'm gonna tell you all the truth, because I don't bullshit. I was scared of it because I thought that mentally I had to stay very controlled mentally. I had to have a strong hold on my mental state, because I didn't want to be exposed to too much, and then I lose sight of what is reality and what is not. That's how people get into it. You lose sight of what is reality and what is not. So I had to get to a point where I trusted myself enough to be able to say, okay, now I'm in the place where I trust myself. Because the reason why people lose their minds literally is because they walked into uncharted waters. They did not build up their mental muscles, and so they did not trust themselves enough to know that they were ready for that. Some people have to take drugs or whatever to induce altered state of consciousness. All of that is a fucking waste of time. This has to be how you live. This has to be how you practice. If you get up in the morning and you look at the tree and you have a conversation, it doesn't have to be a mental conversation. It's the spirit of the tree. You have an exchange with it. I know you all are thinking Mona is out of her mind, but I'm telling you, you have to understand that everything you say is spirit. Everything you say. Every single thing, including that person sitting next to you, including yourself. Do not lose sight of this because of the illusion of physicality. Okay?